Day 8 of the 3rd month, 1426 AGB. Dear Duke Balthazar of the House of Onyx. I'm not sure if you remember me or Grace, but you and I, we met each other during the tournament at Castle Halroth. I'm the king's only daughter, Noelle, of the House of Celestine. But who am I kidding? Of course you remember. Do please forgive me, Your Grace, but you have haunted my thoughts. I just had to speak with you again in some way or another. When I first laid eyes on you, you were donning your black armor with a black rose carved upon it, the breastplate, riding your great dark steed and lance in hand. Your face was, of course, masked behind the visor of your gothic sallet helm, so I couldn't see you clearly. They called your name, and that of your opponent, the Duke of Gallyport, Henry of the House of Warren. You two went your places, keeping steady and readying your horses to charge. His Grace Duke Henry was wriggling the reins of his horse, his feet giving off a twitch or two. I could also hear the faint sound of heavy breathing from his helm. Eager was he, or perhaps, maybe even nervous. His Grace, of course, was 17 years of age, and had ruled Gallyport for only about a year after his late father passed suddenly. A man he was, but young all the same. He never even experienced the blood-curdling screams of the battlefield, the horrors of warfare. But you, Your Grace, you have. It was obvious. Your posture was very still, no twitching of your feet, no wriggling of the reins. Not even a breath could be heard. There was a brief moment of silence, but only for a moment. Then the call came, and you both began to charge. Duke Henry made a shout and kicked his horse, but you made no sound, apart from the kick to your horse. Poor Henry, dismounted and, well, as I'm sure you remember, was dragged out across the field due to his foot being stuck in the rain. Few of the lords and knights that were participating in the tournament began to chase after the young duke and rescue. Else, you just looked on. Was it an amusement? Or perhaps pity? It was hard to tell. It was at that moment you removed your helm. And when I saw your face, I just couldn't look away. You were clearly older than I, by at least 10 years, I think. But your expression was stoic, very stone-like. You looked on towards the Duke in distress, and then reared your horse towards your tent, awaiting your next opponent. Very few people applauded your next few bouts. The kingdom's nobility have very little love for the House of Onyx, and their subjects in the Duchy of Karloff, as I'm sure you are more than aware of. In fact, I believe you are the only Karloffian to ever show up for the tourney. Partitioners of the dark arts, they said. Elven sympathizers, they said. Vampire and werewolves, they said. Are they true? Are they false? I don't know. I do know, however, that the House of Onyx loved to point out that it was they that turned the tide when the House of Celestine made the bid for the throne. All the other duchies were against my 5th grandfather, but with the marriage between my great-aunt and great-grandfather, the Onyx House combined their forces with the Celestines and overthrew the Tintigles. My family now rules the Kingdom of Boswarth to this day, for over a century now. Now that I think about it, doesn't that make us 5th cousins once removed, twice removed? I honestly don't know. But ever since that victory over a year ago, your family always point out that if they hadn't helped us, as they did, the Celestines would be extinct by now. This, of course, caused some tension between the Duchy of Karloff and the rest of the realm, and the supernatural element of your family's history didn't help as much, I'm sure. But I care not, Your Grace. In fact, it only increased my curiosities towards you. I watched your every duel with great interest and excitement. With every joust, every sword duel, you came out on top every single time, until at last, your last opponent, the host himself, Duke Richard Roth. With every bout, I was certain your victory was secured. But Duke Richard's was very skilled. Though a young house and duchy, Richard was a true warrior, a man shaped by war, but too ambitious for his own good, I admit. For the first time ever since the tourney began, my heart grew quick and heavy with dread. There was actually a possibility of you losing, and I would not have it. By the gods, I would not. I got up and I walked from the royal box and hid behind one of the bleachers. I motioned my lady-in-waiting to me and gave her my veil. I ordered her to give it to you, as a sign of my favor to you. I returned to my seat, and I waited patiently for the bout to begin. Roth, of course, was the first to arrive, then you not long after. You took your position as my lady-in-waiting approached you. The crowd grew silent as she gave you my veil. A veil bearing royal colors. Your head immediately turned towards my direction. Your eyes met mine. Looking down upon you, I saw a kindred spirit. I knew that you were more than just a mighty warrior, but a man of intellect, a man of magic, someone like me. I knew immediately that there were at least some truths about what people said about the Karloffians. I knew people were staring at us, but honestly, I didn't care, and neither did you. You cared not for the opinions of these uneducated fools. You have yet to take my veil, but I knew you wanted to before you did. You took it. You took it and wrapped it around your arm. You kept your eyes on mine before you closed your helm's visor and turned to focus towards Duke Richard. I silently prayed to the gods for your victory, but I already knew the outcome. The outcome of my making. The call was made, and you both charged. And it was like the world began to move at a snail's pace. It felt like an eternity until the two of you finally clashed. Both of your lances shatter, and you both fell from your horses. The crowd rose in shock. I kept my composure, because I already knew the ending. Both you and Roth rose to your feet and glanced at each other for a few moments, until you both called your squires for your swords. Duke Richard nearly cut your head clean off before you could unsheath your weapon. And what a beautiful weapon it was. The blade, red as blood, and the hilt and guard, black as the abyss. The place where the blade and the guard met was carved in the shape of a black rose, whilst the rest of the guard resembled bat wings, and the bottom of the hilt having a wolf's head with its jaw open, showing its sharp teeth. The sword gave me feelings of dreadful magic. It was intoxicating. As you defended yourself against Roth, you still held my veil wrapped around your arm. It felt like a part of me was there with you, fighting with you. His Grace was a skilled fighter, no doubt about it. He didn't rise from simple peasantry to the ruler of duchy. Nothing, after all. He could definitely beat you in battle, but not today, not tomorrow, not ever, and most certainly not in front of me. You knew that if you lose, while swearing my veil, while showing my favor to you, I would be disgraced in front of the whole tournament. You would not allow that. I knew you wouldn't. You swung your sword like you were a god, like a man out for blood, like a man who has not eaten in so long, and the only nourishment was the man right in front of him. must kill him. You must devour him. Until the unimaginable happened. You swung your sword towards him and cut his blade in half. He fell to his back and raised his hands up, saying he yields. The audience was in shock. My father, the king, also in shock. My whole family was in shock, but I knew there was no way I could be in shock. You chose to spare his life, and his grace left the field in a huff towards his tent. The tournament fell silent. You turned toward your horse, mounted it, and started towards the royal box, and right towards me. You removed your gauntlet, and then my veil from your arm, and presented it to me. Your stoic expression still remained, but your eyes, they were so warm. I reached towards your hand and took my veil, but instead of taking it, I leaned down towards you and wrapped it around your neck like a scarf. What came next was quite a scandal, wasn't it? I then used that veil to pull you towards me and gave you a little kiss on the forehead. Gasps surrounded us. Ah, what a beautiful sound. Not only had you won the tourney, Your Grace, but you had won my heart as well. Balthazar of the House of Onyx, Duke of Karloff. That name was music to me. It wasn't before long that everyone gathered at Castle Halroth, and the feast and dance commenced. It was there that we learned the real reason for this gathering. My father, His Majesty, King Rufus I, announced the engagement of my brother, Prince Christopher, who would one day be King Christopher II, and Duke Richard Roth's daughter, Helen, now to be our future queen. Roth, that sneaky old man, given too much too soon, walking around and seeing paintings of black boars, the Roth coat of arms. It already sickens me. And to think these boars are to be relatives soon. But thank the gods, you were there to dance the night away with me. I hear the ladies of my father's court talking of being attracted to the men they describe as tall, dark, and handsome. But the men they would swoon over never fits the description. Not even a little. But you, Your Grace, you were definitely that. We spent the entire evening together, dancing, drinking, talking. And I swear to you, Your Grace, and to all of the gods, I was ready to give myself to you right then and there, follow you to your chambers, and give my maiden innocence. The whole night under the sheets, just you and me. But the gods ended our companyship too soon. That damn messenger bursting through the doors and announcing my father the news of Iceman. The Vikings raiding our towns, killing and raping our peasantry. My father, the good king that he is, decided right then and there to take action. He began calling for all the knights and vassals that were there in attendance to begin war preparations. He then turned towards us and approached you. My father, though suspicious of the House of Onyx, recognized you for your talents. He named you Royal Marshal in front of everyone, commander of the king's forces. I also noticed that Duke Roth was not very pleased. Did he really think that just because his daughter was to be queen, he deserved a place in my father's royal council? Old, foolish upstart. I was overjoyed with your recognition. However, it means that you would be away. Away to fight the Vikings. Away from my welcoming arms. away from my bedchamber, and away from my love. And my father knows this. Damn him. It has now been 2 months since we last saw each other, and you must know that my heart is still with you. I pray every night to the gods to bring you back to me, and use every charm and incantation that I know to keep you safe from enemy blades. I dare not look upon another man, dare not let one touch me, for there is no one else that could take this place in my heart. You are my soulmate, and I know it, and I know you know it. It is a sign from the gods. You and I are meant to be together, for I have not felt an attraction like this to any other man since you. You are mine, and I yours. Please, my love, come back to me, for you are mine, and I will have no other. Signed, Noelle of the House of Celestine, Princess of the Kingdom of Boswarth.